What's good, everybody? Here to talk about that. Hold on. That Deadpool Wolverine movie review. Now, I'm gonna get it right off the rip. That thing was great. Excellent. It's like when you've been wanting tacos the whole day, but then you realize you got more money in your bank account, so not only that, you get something else. Man, I don't know what that is. But at the same time, this movie was, I'm not going to say it was like a masterpiece or maybe one of the best movies ever. I feel like that's a little too early, too extra at this point in juncture. I was like, that could be something like once it comes out and everybody's gonna watch it again. But I thought that I was like, this is easily it's better than the second one, to be honest. Like, I was like, I was like the first. That's always hard to compete against the first one, just because the first one always has like that. Oh, this is the movie. It was great. All this other stuff. Where the third one has the expectation of the past ones and good, the bad, all that other stuff. But I think it delivered on everything from the comedy, the cameos. The story was actually there in a way that actually didn't just fall flat either. Um, I thought it was a good, I was like, it was a good superhero movie because they did make it into a superhero movie, not just a Deadpool movie. Where I mean, which a lot of which I think the second one felt more like, oh, that was a Deadpool movie. Deadpool just doing Deadpool stuff. Where the first one, I was like, was a mix of Deadpool and a superhero story in general. And I think, I mean, each one in each of the three movies is centered between, like, with his girl being somewhat the main piece for that. Where in the first one she gets kidnapped, the second one she died, the third one where she don't wanna, I don't want to say have nothing to do with him because she showed up at the party and stuff like that. But the third one in being that, like something's off, their connection is just not there. Um, yeah, so I was like, yeah, so I think that I was like, they went sort of back to the drawing book. I felt like the first one, well, upping it here. I think all the jokes also hit too. I don't think there was really any that was like, any that was just like or whatever like that. I was like, so watching in the theater, some don't hit the same way that I feel like watching it at home will. Where that's the other people and all the other stuff affecting it. But also, I don't think there's any jokes here that you're gonna probably be able to look back on and be like, dang. I was like, that was good when it came out, but not really. I was like, they either were current, but also where you could carry it on at any other time too. Like there wasn't too many that were specific to like this time either. Like with some other, especially with some other Marvel movies where their jokes are really like so current that it's like, oh, that's not a joke that's going to be a transfer because it's not too ambiguous or it's not like a past one where it's like, oh, no matter when that's in the past, it'll be funny in some type of way to certain people or whatever. I was like, the cameos. I was like, I thought it was a good amount of cameos. It wasn't too many, but it also was a good amount. This is sort of what I expected from Multiverse of Madness, to be honest. Like the cameos we got and sort of the way that we did it, I thought that was going to be in the Doctor Strange movie, where I was like, you're going through all these multiverses. Wouldn't it make sense? I was like, Deadpool really didn't go through a bunch of multiverses except to find Wolverine, but they made sense and you did get different aspects of it. I was like, whether it was Blade, I was like, it was Elektra, it was, I was like, look, the biggest pop out of me was basically the three was Captain America being Johnny Storm. I was like, that got a big pop out of me because I was like, I didn't expect it, and also I seen this movie after Robert Downey Jr. came back as Doctor Doom. So for me, I was like already like I was like my head was, oh man, I was like, I wonder if they're gonna bring back Chris Evans in some type of form. Well, they already did, and I was like, that was awesome. Also, his whole dialogue of him when Deadpool was when he was recording Deadpool show that he did say all that stuff. I thought that was funny because Chris Evans does a lot of that type of stuff. You know, like the movies a lot of movies he's really been in that hasn't been Captain America. He sort of plays this kind of character in a lot of them. Blade gave me a pop because I did not expect it. I was like, well, duh, not expect it. But I didn't. I was like, but I fully didn't expect them to even put him in any of this, especially with their rumored Blade that they didn't want to put him in there. And it's hilarious because I felt like he basically told us we're not getting no Blade because it's been in like development hell for what 4 or 5 years now, and his line in there was like the one and only Blade, and Deadpool sort of gave that fourth wall look of like you hearing it. And Channing Tatum as Gambit. I was like, for a long time he was supposed to be Gambit, but I was like, so them putting him here sort of made me think of, well, I was like, that's a different. I was like, Henry Cavill is more, dang it, I forgot his name. Dude from The Office that played the Fantastic Four, Kowinski, something like that. That to me, though, that was that cameo in a way that Channing Tatum was something different. I was like, because Channing Tatum was supposed to be this and never, Fox died, so that happened. So we got him here. Whereas like the Henry Cavill cameo, I was like, it's more like the Fantastic Four one is where it's just kind of like, oh, rumors of what he played at, and I thought that was really good as well too. I was like, that made sense. The making funny of Channing Tatum with an Cajun accent, where it was just like you couldn't understand him. I was like, it sort of got a little bit ruined for me because I ended up spotting it, but Kang coming back at not Kang, but I can't remember her first name, but coming back at X-23, I was like, oh, that's a cool shout out because that was something that a lot of people was wanting, and also didn't have. I was like, Johnny Storm died, basically hilariously, but they didn't let anybody else die, which I think was a lesson learned probably from really the second one, just because it's like you don't want that was you made that team, and it was all for shits and giggles, but at the same time it was funny, and I was like, it was funny, but it also took away of it at the same time a bit, and I was like, these characters are one more iconic and of like being known, I should say, not necessarily iconic, that they didn't let them die. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. They actually put up a fight, saved them, and all that other stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, that's like I like that. That was a cool piece to it. The whole beginning of it with Logan, his body being antimanium and him using that to kill the TVA. I was like, thought it was funny, especially with the dance montage, hilarious. The TVA incorporation of it, I thought was really good, especially because he had the time watch during this whole thing. I thought that was a good touch of having that in there and being that connective with it. And then pointing out that's like, oh man, this was in Loki season 5 and all this other stuff. The fighting between Deadpool and Wolverine, I was like that. There was. The funny thing is like you keep watching it all day because they keep on regenerating, and that's really what it was. Every time they fought, it was just on and on, and I was like, but it was good fights. It was nothing. There was no holding back with it. There was no holding back in any of this movie. It was nothing but bloody and gore, and whatnot. So I was here for it because I was like, I feel like Deadpool, Wolverine, that's their MO. You can't sort of half-ass it. You can't sort of just be look, you couldn't yes, you could have tried to make this. I was like PG-13, but I was like rated R was the way to go with all this, with what they say and what they do. You had to do it this way, so I'm glad they did because it came out top notch for this whole thing. Um, yeah, so I was like the movie, the story. I was like from the story, the fighting, the people that is involved. I was like they out Pyro and a couple people from the first X Men. Um, I was like, I thought it really was going to be cameo heavy. So that was sort of that was a fear because you just didn't want too many cameos where they didn't insert where the purpose of them was really to be shown gone or die. Which I mean, if I was like, if they were shown as he's traveling, then that's fine. But I was like, but just like the immediately die off or something like that could be a lot, could be too much. So I think they hit the right amount, especially like I said, he got a team, and before that, Chris Evans and Henry Cavill. That was really the only one. It was also cool to see him going through each Wolverine and basically die. Where it was the one that Madripoor, where it was the one that was common accurate, where he's like 5'3". I like to me those were nice touches as well too. We already know about the Wolverine suit, so that really wasn't too much of a thing. I was like, they had a lot of Pete in here, which I was like, he was a funny guy. I was surprised they didn't have like I guess maybe the other character, the one that is his family, but of course he can't really bring them because they're about to die, kind of thing. Um, yeah. So as far as like any of the the good stuff in the movie, yeah, I think everything pretty much hit the point. Any bad of the movie, hmm. I was like, well, I was like, this is a good and it's a bad. As my shirt is one like a half. The good and the bad, and we'll have to see. Is that basically the good thing is it made it its own Deadpool movie while uh, didn't it didn't mess with any of the MCU stuff at all. Which I was like cool because I was like it even joked about basically the multiverse being convoluted and whatnot. That I'm glad it didn't go and start just touching all the other stuff like Cassandra Nova hanging all up in the old MCU movies and stuff like that. I mean, it'd be cool if maybe there was like a brief like bit where he goes back and he sees something. He's like, oh my god, or it's like he's like, don't worry, you'll survive. But he doesn't actually interfere. But that's neither here nor there. The bad, I guess, is like, and to be honest, these bads are really going to be like, they're not even like nitpick or something that I feel like changing the movie or nothing like that. It's really like nitpicks of like, oh, what I would sort of like, not anything in specific, but more so is that because of the standalone movie, I was like, obviously, to the TV is gonna let him exist. I was like, Logan fixed the point that it needs to fix, so they're all fine, but in the big scheme of like what he's going to be, maybe as far as Avengers and MCU and stuff like that, up in air. There's really no significant signal that's like, oh, this is going to automatically work over here or something like that, or he's gonna join the team or watch out for Secret Wars or nothing like that. And I was like, that's bad, but I was like, that's also good that it's like cool. It got to be its own thing. We don't have to look to the future and be pondering, and everybody else gets messed up because they're like, oh, does that mean he's going to be here? Does that mean he's going to be here? Which I think has gotten a lot of people and a lot of Marvel fans in trouble, and Marvel themselves in trouble a lot of times. So as it just stands, I was like, that's the good, but the bad of it. Bad, like I said, just some funny nitpicks. I thought it'd be funny as like at one point I think Wolverine was standing up and Deadpool was looking, and I was like, oh man, I was like, it's like he's going to make a last stand. I thought he was going to do like that type of joke. Also, the Juggernaut didn't get his famous "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch." Like that did not happen, and I was sort of disappointed at that one, to be honest. Out of like really anything else, because I'm like, that's the main thing in that we know that movie and him from. Like, okay, no, I was like Cassandra being the villain. Like I said, it wasn't a bad one, and that's why I said it was a superhero story because she wasn't a threat in a crazy way to be like, oh, she's a villain. It was like, oh, she's a villain, and then through their power of love, they was able to defeat her. So I was like, but I was like, that was bad. I was like, the villain wasn't really crucial to the story in a way where you could have just had any rinky dink person kind of in that spot, especially the way her powers are crazy or whatnot, and the fact that you got two regenerative people that could have did something. But the main story wasn't necessarily that. The main story was basically like getting over grief, getting I was like finding your purpose, realizing that your life isn't as bad as it may seem, and things like that. So I know I was like, my bad is really not even turning to bad; it's really even turning to good. Cause I'm over here to give me the synopsis of the story in the whole thing. Um, yeah, I was like, you know what? We're just gonna keep talking about good, cause there ain't even no bad here. Maybe if I say something, I was like, and then like, or whatever. The team of Deadpools, I was like, those were just sort of funny, uh, for the bit that it was, and it created a fun killing montage. I was like, the dog was there being funny, along with pretty Ryan Reynolds that was just Deadpool but nothing else. Just getting like like bullet up or whatever. Um, yeah, but no, the I don't. Yeah, I really don't have any. Even after a bit of thinking about it, I don't have any bad for this movie. This movie was great, excellent. Even I was like, I think that I was like, does this mean that this will get Marvel back on track? No, because like I said, it was its own Deadpool movie. It's its own thing. It didn't really tie into any MCU stuff. It didn't try to really try into any MCU stuff. I was like, everything was pretty much vague. The characters, except for what you've seen on the TV screens, there was nothing there to really connect it to Marvel, except for the Void, the Lyra, and I forgot her name. I forgot her name from the Loki TV show that came out at the very end. Other than that, I was like, no, you can't do this. This is the Deadpool movie making Deadpool money, not Marvel money. You get what I'm saying. Um, but yeah, no. If I have any more, maybe I'll make another video. But right now, yo, top notch movie. That thing gets an A from me. So anyway, what do you think about the movie? What more could they have done? Did you have any nitpicks or anything that you wanted to, or you thought that was bad? Because I really didn't, as you can tell. I really love the movie. Let me know what you think. Tell me no. Hey, till next time. Peace. I'm out.